We have some major Texans updates. Training camp has begun, and the season is very close to being underway. Just about a month more of some offseason stuff. You got preseason games on the way, but I am so excited for football season. Let me know your thoughts. This is going to be an awesome season for the Texans, but we have a couple things to recap. And if you're new to the channel, 75% of you are not subscribed to the channel. I know it's been a while for me to post some videos. Donovan's been carrying the channel, so shout out Donovan. But looking at the news of the day, we're going to talk about CJ Stroud and Jaden Higgins building chemistry. But some other things that has happened is Ariante Ursary finally completed the rookie draft, signing a $9.2 million deal over the 4 years. And you had a couple players for the Texans crack the top 100. You had Derek Stingley, number 10, Nico Collins, 39, Danielle Hunter, 41, Jalen Pitre, and CJ Gardner-Johnson. So a lot of positive stuff. I know Donovan touched on the top 100, but just some new news for the Texans, and I think this is a bigger one than people are going to be expecting, because this is an offense that I really don't know what to expect. And after hearing CJ Stroud's thoughts on the two rookies, which we'll touch on in just a second, and I think it's crazy about what he said, but Nick Caley in this offense is going to look very dynamic, very different. And if we just take a read here, Houston is pushing to re-image its offense under new offensive coordinator Nick Caley, with the Texans implementing a different pass game and multiple run schemes. That is telling you something crazy. So Christian Kirk praised the new system, saying CJ Stroud has been awesome. You can tell by his presence in the locker room. So when I talked about this team a few months ago, I was under the impression that it was going to be a run-heavy scheme. You have a lot of tackles that can, run block very well. They're not necessarily the best pass blockers, but that's what this offense is going to be. If anybody saw any Rams games last year, it was run it 100 more times. Kyron Williams had 20-plus carries in a few games, and I think that was the biggest thing that Nick Caley communicated with to Nick Caserio, saying, hey, we might need to go out and get another running back, because I don't know if I want to put all of the carries on Joe Mixon, who's 30 years old. So Mixon and Chubb is going to have a huge impact on this team, and this is the system. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right now, because I really don't know what to expect with Nick Caley's system. There probably won't be a lot of two tight ends, just because do you have Stover and Schultz out there? Do you trust, the Brevin Jordan Schultz, the Brevin Jordan Stover? What are the combinations that you trust to run two tight ends? Because I saw a lot of two tight end sets with the Rams, but I feel like it's going to be maybe sometimes they go 4 or 5 wide. I wouldn't really mind that, but it could end up being two running backs in the backfield and then, just play action. I don't know what it's going to look like, but that's why I'm asking you. There's so many different possibilities that I could just throw out there and it might not make any sense. So that's what I'm looking at for this season. But they're going to redefine what they're supposed to be on offense, because last year the Texans offense was terrible, and that is why you go out and draft a guy like Jaden Higgins, where they're building a lot of chemistry in training camp. And you move right back to this graphic, and CJ Stroud says he's excited about pretty much everyone that came to the Texans in terms of the wide receivers, but he singled out 2 players, including both rookies at Iowa State. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty much everybody, but I like the 2 rookies, Jalen and Jaden. They've come in with a great mindset, really mature guys who love to work, consistently here at the building or, working with me in the offseason. So, I'm really excited to see those guys' growth and see them, take a step forward each and every day. And it's not going to be perfect for those guys, but I think they're going to make a lot of plays.
We already know the impact that Jaden Higgins is supposed to have as the Texans' first draft pick in the second round when they traded back out of the first. So looking at it, it's almost like CJ Stroud and Jaden Higgins are going to have a connection. But not only that, the fact that he mentioned Jalen Noel, who I personally don't think was going to get a lot of playing time this season, because that was Christian Kirk's role. Are you guys, so that's where I'm going to question, right? Is it going to be a little bit of Kirk, a little bit of Noel? Is it going to be anything to do with any of the other depth that you have at wide receivers? Berrios, Watson, you still have John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson. One of those guys has got to go. And in terms of cutting the 53-man roster. But going back to this, Higgins and Knoll are going to be players to come for a long time. And it's different because you think about one of the players, and that is Mr. Tank Dell. Is it now the fact that Tank Dell is out of a spot at a slot role? Because you look at he's getting back to full health. Why did you draft Jalen Knoll and Jaden Higgins if you weren't thinking Tank Dell was going to be ready for next season? Obviously, you need somebody for right now to fill in. That was Kirk. Kirk is not the long-term solution. Knoll was basically picked because third round, they were surprised he fell. They thought that he was talented. Honestly, they might just put him in for a couple certain scheme plays, like a little screen pass outside. I mean, Knoll's a quick, shifty guy, and he's a lot bigger than Tank Dell. But again, what is Tank Dell's future with this team if Jalen Knoll is being praised by CJ Stroud? We already know how CJ Stroud feels about Tank Dell because he's already said in the fact that he loves him. He would take him as a slot receiver all time. That's just because they're tight. So it's not the fact that Tank Dell's not going to be on the team. Don't think that that's what I'm saying at all. But you start to question yourself, what is Knoll's role going to be when Tank Dell comes back? And will Tank Dell be full 100%? Now, obviously, this is supposed to be more about Jaden Higgins and CJ Stroud's chemistry, but let's do a little bit of like, hey, what is this season going to look like for Jaden Higgins and CJ Stroud? Because the Texans have wanted a number 2 now for the longest time. They tried to do it with Stephon Diggs. That didn't work. They tried to do it bringing in a couple guys in his rookie year. That didn't work either. So Robert Woods, again, a veteran. Stroud has never really had a great wide receiving core. Tank Dell was great his rookie year, but we have to keep in mind that the Texans have not really had a stacked receiving core. And that's just the truth. The run game, I think the best receiving core he had was probably his rookie year, where you had Robert Woods, you had, I don't believe Brandon Cooks was on the team, but I really don't remember the receivers on the team, which is really bad. That's how, I mean, it was Nico Collins who had a breakout year, and then it was kind of left up to, a few guys. Tank Dell was there. Robert Woods, there really wasn't a lot going on. Dalton Schultz is always okay, but is that enough, right? Now you bring in Nico Collins, pair it with a rookie in Jaden Higgins, who was a very great catcher of the football in terms of his drop percentage at Iowa State, and now what is this season going to look like, not only for CJ Stroud, but Jaden Higgins? Is Higgins going to have an 1,000-yard year? Is the Texans' wide receiving core going to look like the Eagles, the Bengals, the Dolphins, one of those teams where it's 2 1,000-yard receivers? I'm really confident that not only Nico Collins is going to have a 12, 1,300-yard season, but Jaden Higgins is going to be right up next to Nico in terms of his yards this season. It's going to be a little bit shocking for those who are not Texans fans, but I'm really believing that CJ Stroud's going to throw for at least 4,200 yards. And I know it's hard to say that this is going to be a powerful offense throwing the football because you go back a slide right here where they're going to have a lot of run-heavy schemes, which obviously you don't think, hey, Mike, probably not going to pass the ball that often, but when the run game's working, the play action game is going to work just as well. So you have a lot of run blocking guys that can work in the scheme as the offensive line. Go ahead and run it. I'm fine with that. But you don't want to minimize CJ Stroud's ability to throw the football. Put him in good situations to succeed. Put him in good places, good situational football. That's the best thing about CJ Stroud. Is if he's in a 3rd and 5, he knows the downs and the distance. He knows where the sticks are. He'll go run it himself. He'll go hit Nico Collins on a slant, a little RPO, whatever you have to do. But that's what this offense is going to look like in terms of what I'm understanding. A lot of RPOs, a lot of runs, a lot of run-heavy schemes, and it's going to be Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, and I don't think they're going to have a lot of slot really looks. It's going to be a lot of run-heavy schemes. So, again, let me know your thoughts on this team overall, what it's going to look like, but also the system. They're saying they're going to run the ball a lot, but I would like to see Stroud throw it a little bit more, especially if, again, the run game isn't there. There were so many times last year where Bobby Slowick, there were games where the Bears defense just smushed. They smothered the run, and then you continue to run it. I'm fine with running, but if it's not there, pivot, play action, hard checks at the line, which is what we're hearing in training camp. So a lot of good news, a lot of buzz, a lot of high potential for this season for the Texans. I've already talked about my feelings on how the Texans could make a deep run if they are ready, if they are all moving the right pieces, and especially on offense, because the offense fell apart in not only the playoffs, but you kind of relied on the defense to win the game for you. You can't do that at this stage. It only goes so far. And when your defense keeps you in games, if your offense can be just as good, like the Eagles who won the Super Bowl last season, that's how you can make a run. So let me know your thoughts on basically everything, from your thoughts on the Texans this season to the thoughts on the offense, Jaden Higgins, how far will the Texans go? You could be the judge in the comments, but just moved into a new apartment, so trying to get a lot more videos pumping out. I know you haven't seen me as much, but me and Donovan are going to keep going. Texans Digest. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate everyone watching. 75% of you are not subscribed, but all the Texans Digest community, you guys have been killing it. Thank you guys for your support, and we'll see you in the next video.